Hello again. I am Jeff Biggs, and I cannot believe we are less than a month away from free agency.
I am Marcus Mosher, and I hated the first Sundays without football.
I'm Iisha Morrison, and I am shocked at what Jeff just said about the fact that we're only a month away from free agency. Holy crap, it's going by fast.
Yep.
Glenn Stretch Smith and I get reminded daily from Marcus Mosher, we're 1 week away from the combine.
Let's go.
How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
Squad up and what's up? Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can use your profit boost on NBA Future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Well, it is great to be back with you, starting another week, 1 week closer to the Combine, as Coach mentioned, and even closer to NFL free agency. Not even, but that's coming up as well. So is this edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. We start, as always, with a welcome to Iisha Morrison. She's got a lot going on, all her different shows. Glad to have her back tonight. We've got the co-host of the Daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Marcus Mosher, and former Cowboys coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, coming up on the show tonight, the very latest on what is going on with the Cowboys, the media picking on Pickens, more mock drafts, and more comments from Jerry Jones. But Marcus, going to start with you tonight. We spoke a lot last Thursday on the show about, okay, what can the Cowboys really do? Can they really fix the defense and really put together a championship caliber unit that can make a run, right, with the offense? Can they put a squad together that can do that? Well, we got into that, and as I said, we are now less than a month away from free agency, and I know you guys have already been diving into this as well. But, you know, there's some really good DBs led by the DL that you mentioned, Devin Lloyd. There's Devin Bush. I know you guys did an episode on what kind of money the Cowboys can create with restructuring. But I don't know, kind of give me your feel, because before we get to the draft, we're going to have free agency first. So what's on your radar right now with that?
Yeah, we're a month away. You're going to start seeing more and more players released, like we did today with the Miami Dolphins, who released Bradley Chubb and Tyreek Hill. Inevitably, you're going to get a bunch of these guys either signing contract extensions or being put on the franchise tag, and that's going to limit the pool a little bit. But I actually think this sets up well for the Cowboys in free agency, because they're not going to be chasing the $25-30 million a year players. Like, just kind of get that out of your brain. They're not going to be in that type of market. But do I think they could be in the market for guys that are getting paid like $7 to $12 million a year? Yep. Yes, and that's where this class is really good. If you're looking for average to above average starters at linebacker, at defensive end, safety, I do think there's going to be a lot of options available to them in the next month.
Yeah, also too, I mean, I think, Marcus, you mentioned, linebacker. I agree with you that there are some guys that could come in and help you. And I think that's kind of important, especially given how the draft sets up for Dallas. With those first two picks, we're expecting we need for them to hit, but them not having picks in that second, third. However, that is the part that's going to put them in a weird spot when they're trying to supplement, so I feel like free agency is going to be important for positions like linebacker, corner, even though, they might even double dip there because of the class. They can take care of some of this stuff in free agency and set themselves up better and get some veterans in here to kind of set the foundation for the team.
Let me ask you, has anybody put out there like preliminary, whether it's Bucky Brooks or any guys that look early at the draft, has anybody stated how many true first-round grades there are?
I don't know if anyone. Well, I'm sure that Dane Brugler has, but from my count, Marcus, I don't know how many you have so far, but it's going to be a higher number than what I thought it would be with this class. Think the highest I've seen is 19. I think the highest I've seen is 19 on like you were saying, like Bucky Brooks and some of those guys. Like I think it's 19. Marcus might be able to know too.
Okay.
He went off the screen. He must have quit. But
he's back.
I'm out, Coach. Go ahead. You start.
There he is.
I'm out.
No, I'm saying I thought you quit. How many true first-round grades has like Kuiper have those guys put out there right now?
About 12 to 14. It's a smaller number in this year's draft.
Yeah, okay. You're saying the opposite of what I was saying because I thought I saw it was higher. I thought I saw somebody.
Well, it depends. It depends on who you listen to, right? Like I think.
Okay.
Let me rephrase it like this.
Okay.
The people that are covering the draft that have it on their certain networks want to tell you that it's a great draft every single year, right? Because you want people to tune in. I think it's more about 12 to 14 true first round grades. And then there are guys that I think are borderline, but I think if you're asking a team like the Cowboys, I bet you they have about 12 or 13 of those guys.
And so that's the point. That's the point I'm making. So right now at is their second pick at 20 or 21?
20.
Yeah. So right now, I'm way on board to start taking phone calls, start jockeying this 20th pick to see if I can get out of that pick to get me a second round pick, a third round pick, somewhere where I can get back in to this, what would be considered top 100. Mm-hmm. So again, I want to know, and I don't want to get into it too early because it really does. It skews my mind coming right out of football season, starting to look at college guys. I'd like to know how many true first-round grades there are, and then what's it going to take for one of these teams that is dying for a quarterback, and might there be one of these quarterbacks right in that 17 to 23 range?
I don't think it's any quarterbacks.
No, I was about to say that's what's hurting this class. That's why there's only that small amount.
Somebody will see value in one of those guys. I promise.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to go do what you got to do. If you got to get a quarterback, you got to get a quarterback. But I do disagree a little bit with you, Marcus. I think that this class is not. It's not top heavy in the places like we expect. I think that we kind of get used to with offensive line, tackle, guard. Those have been heavy for the last few years. Obviously, quarterback is a little bit of a letdown in this class. I feel like the weight of the offensive side of the ball not being as talented in those key spots is what makes people think this isn't a good draft. But there is so much good defensive talent in this class. And especially to your point, and as I learned in school, a lot of mid-level talent to add to your roster that has a lot of upside. So for me, I'm like, I think this is a good class. It's just not flashy. It's not pretty. It's a good defensive class for sure.
Yeah, it really is. Now, I think the difference is the top 5 talent. You've got a quarterback in Fernando
because it's
Mendoza.
A good class. Yeah, it can be a good class without having a great, heavy first round. I mean,
and that's what I feel pretty confidently about. Like the guy that you're going to get at 15 is not going to be all that different than the guy you're going to get at 42.
Okay. All right.
So with that being said, this early, the point I'm making is I want to see how it starts unfolding. I want to see where guys get all, because I can promise you this will happen. You'll see guys start to get excited about guys in the combine. You'll see guys starting to get, Lacewell used to call it. He called it like a midnight raise. Like guys would just jump up the board because somebody got excited at the combine about how he ran or how he jumped or what he did. And that's what I want to see, because you got to get somebody. Let's say it is 15 to 16 guys. 18 even in that first round. You got to get somebody to get excited to want to get up and get that pick and want to give you something. And that's what's going to get me going a little bit, is if you can trade back a little bit and get back into the second round and start getting where you think this draft could really be thick.
Yeah, and I think – go ahead, Iisha.
Oh, I was about to say, I agree that, I've been saying that Dallas not being able to get in the second, third round was hurting me, killing me, making me feel bad inside. But I do think I'm sorry, Marcus, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go because I think I lost my train of thought when we went and interrupted each other.
You probably aren't going to have a quarterback that teams are willing to come up for. Maybe it happens with Ty Simpson. But the one position I do think you could see a lot of action is that wide receiver. And we could talk about this with free agency. It is a really bad free agent class at wide receiver, especially if George Pickens doesn't make it to the open market, which I don't think he's going to. There are a lot of teams between 13 and 30 that have wide receiver needs. And to me, there's a pretty clear-cut top 3 at receiver. And then there's a little bit of a gap. But if you're a team like Buffalo at pick 26, you're not going to want to wait for just whatever receiver falls to you. I think you're going to see teams like that in Denver later in the first round being aggressive to go up and get the guy that fits their scheme.
That's what my point was, Marcus. First of all, great point. I wanted to mention, are you counting the gentlemen that might have had a first round grade, but we're waiting for combine numbers, testing and stuff to see how they test, like that were injured? Because there are some guys as well that
like Jermon McCoy from Tennessee.
McCoy, I think even Messidor, if some people would consider him a first rounder, people worried about his feet, blah, 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 blah,
He's
blah.
also really, really old, but I'm
God, he's a senior citizen.
I know.
It's all right.
He's old. How old is he? 26?
He'll be 25 as a rookie.
Nice.
He's really polished. Look at me.
That's the whole Indiana class.
I know. Listen.
I mean, the whole Indiana football team can apply for ARP cards in 24 months.
Please, coach. But that's why I was asking. Like, to Coach's point, to the original point, is he was saying that he's waiting for the combine to see how people get really excited about a guy that ran, totally forget about his tape, or there might be guys like you said, Marcus, that are right on the cusp that we're just waiting to see how they test, how they do some of these drills, and maybe that pushes them into the first round. You don't have any guys like that?
It's possible. I think of Jermon McCoy, a cornerback from Tennessee who missed the entire season with the torn ACL. If he goes out and runs a 4.39 at the NFL Combine, I do think that's going to quiet some concerns. I think there's also a guy like Keldrick Falk at Auburn, a defensive end. If he tears up Indianapolis, maybe he has a chance. But for me, I don't let the combine influence my grades too much. It's a tiebreaker. It shouldn't move up a guy around or anything like that. But inevitably it does every year. There's always going to be a guy or two that blows up these drills, runs a 4.38, and now all of a sudden is a lock first round pick. So it's going to happen.
Is tackle?
It happens every year. You can book that
every year.
That's what you want to do. You want to get whoever that guy is that gets all shot in the rear end with the fact that this guy had a great combine, and maybe he has some doubt. Boom, you get right back in there, and they want to climb up in that first round. I mean, you could really, and that's what I'm saying. If you make it available now, if you really feel that good about where the draft is now, and you make it available now, there'll be multiple teams that will want to get back in that top 25 to make a pick. I promise you.
Marcus, have you looked at the free agency class when it comes to offensive linemen?
I have.
Tackle. What does it feel like to you?
Good luck.
Okay, bringing me to I was going to wait for that answer to get my question. So with this class, this tackle class, we know, like, as we get into this draft, is not that great. I mean, the offensive linemen in general, like, there's some guys at the top. Do you think that a team, given what you just said about free agency, I know this is not like maybe a premier position, but if you need it, maybe a team comes up for one of those tackles if they're there?
It's possible, although offensive tackle is historically not a position that teams like to trade up for because it's still only one guy out of a 5-man unit. But you're right. I mean, it's a pretty weak free agent class. I would not be surprised if you see some jockeying. And I don't know if it's going to be at 20. I think it could be at 12. Teams moving from like 16 to 12. And I think Dallas would be interested in that. If you could move down a couple spots and pick up a top 75 pick, I would not be surprised. Now, I don't know if that deal is going to get done now, but we have seen teams, make trades for mid first round picks. In recent years. I think it was the Texans a couple of years ago, traded out of the first round in March. That doesn't happen all that often, but I would not be surprised given the Cowboys' needs for a day 2 pick if that does end up coming to fruition.
All right.
What about a guy like TJ Bass? I mean, what if somebody picked up the phone and offered you a third for him?
Yeah, really good
Very
point.
possible.
And he's a restricted free agent, so the Cowboys are probably going to put a second round tender. I don't know if you would get a third, but I love the idea. It's like, hey, the Raiders need offensive line help. Rather than spending a third round pick on a guy that you have no idea can play, what if we give you a fourth and you give us back a 6th? It's something like that, right? And I mean, I don't think the Cowboys want to lose TJ Bass, but maybe they don't feel like they can afford to pay him $6 million a year to be a backup either. So I think that's a really good thought.
No,
if you're second round tendering, why would you give him up for a 4?
Well, because nobody's going to give up a second round pick for Bass, but you could negotiate that.
I didn't say a second. I said a third, but you don't have a third either.
Yeah, you don't have a third. I wonder if that's too much for a guy that's been a backup. But again, would it shock me? No, it wouldn't.
No, and to add to that,
he didn't play like a backup.
No, he's a pretty. Now I think the issue is whatever team acquired him would also have to pay him. And this is some of the stuff we're running in with George Pickens. A lot of these teams don't want to give up cap space and give up draft capital for one player.
Yeah. And I mean, I was going to add on to the TJ Bass point. From my understanding, that is something that has happened. That there has been conversations or interest in him before. So this is not. I think Dallas has held on to him. It's awesome to see him. I mean, undrafted free agent. I was surprised he didn't get drafted. I don't know if you were, Marcus, as well. So for Dallas to get this guy to a point to where that's a great point, Coach, is that like he might have some value in this equation. And it's hard to find some guys on this roster, in certain spots with that type of value right now that you're okay with getting rid of. That's a good idea.
Coach makes some good points every once in a while.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. That's a good idea.
Real quick, never more appropriate time than to say, sorry to bother you.
No, shut up, man. Shut up.
What is Terrence Steele's status?
We don't know.
He's a fascinating one because I think the Cowboys would like to rework that contract. But the issue is I don't know how much leverage they have, because if they were to release Steele outright, we just got done talking about how bad this free agent tackle class is. There are a lot of teams that would give him money, especially these ones that have got a ton of cap space. I do think something happens where they get him on a cheaper deal. But right now it's certainly in flux.
Do you think that, Marcus, what he is what he is, right?
Mm-hmm. I think we've seen the best.
Out. Sorry,
this is the best that we're going to see of him. I think the issue is, I don't know if you want to go that young on the offensive line. He's really your only veteran outside of Tyler Smith. And do you really want to open up another hole when you have a ton of them to fill on defense? He also likes being there. The coaches love him. He works hard. I think they come to some kind of resolution.
I agree. And I think it's so weird because we talk about the fact that the pass protection is something that he struggled with. He's just too tall in his stance a lot of the time. And especially post this ACL, I don't think he's getting a knee bend that you want him to have. And speed rushers give him some issues sometimes, but then you'll find some snaps where they don't, and you be looking. But in the run game, he's effective. So it's like, well, and I think we've seen him have success with this Clayton Adams scheme as well. So I know it's hard for me because it's good things and there's bad things about the player. And that's what I was asking you guys and Coach as well. Like, at what point in time is that, like, you just accept that? You just accept that that's what he is and that you're going to be limited on that side.
I think that's where we're at right now.
Barnacles. Acceptance is where we are.
Yes.
Marcus. Coach, How would you evaluate a player that is so good at one point on the ball, or that is efficient on one side of the ball, on one side of the offense, and then struggles in like pass protection in this way? And how does that affect their value?
He's a guy you don't want to slow dance with if he asks you, because he can't lead with his left foot. He can lead with his right foot, but he can't lead with his left. I think that when you start really coming down to offensive linemen, I'm much more into ankle flexibility. I want a guy that can keep his cleats in the ground. Yes, I want some bend, but more than that, I want guys that got really flexible ankles. And when you can't, you're asking me, is he comfortable kicking with one foot and he's not comfortable kicking with the other foot? I'm going to tell you that red flags me. I don't like a guy that's that bad of a almost that dominant with one side or the other, because certainly that's something that should have been recognized when he was a sophomore in college, that, hey, we got to get just as good at kicking with one way as we do with the other. And I don't care whether it's left or right, whatever it is. You're obviously, we're all dominant with one or the other, but you have to become, as an offensive lineman, you have to really become. And I made the joke about dancing. I mean, you got to be able to lead with your left foot just like you lead with your right, or you got to be able to follow somebody who's dancing with you, who's leading with their right, and you got to drop with your left, or vice versa. So that, to me, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. And if you can only play one side or the other, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that's conducive to a long haul answer for where you need to be.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll see how that goes and see how that plays out. Lots of question marks. But when we come back, I want to hit you with my follow-up defense question. We'll do that when we return. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. I want to talk to you, though, about ZocDoc, because finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sure, you want someone who's in network, nearby, has availability, but you also want a doctor who listens and makes you feel comfortable and explains things clearly. That kind of doctor exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering over 200 specialties, from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and even eye care. Now, maybe you put off your doctor appointments longer than you should. ZocDoc makes it easy to avoid that delay. The process is simple. You can search by specialty or symptoms and actually build a care team that works for you. You can see real-time availability and book instantly. No phone calls, no waiting on hold. You can also read verified patient reviews so you feel confident choosing a doctor you actually like. And whether you want to go in person or do a video visit, ZocDoc makes that easy either way. So stop putting off those doctor appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. All right, great to be back with you here on the Cowboys Squad Show. That's Iisha Morrison with two eyes, along with Marcus Mosher, co-host of the Daily Cowboys podcast, and Glenn Stretch Smith, former Cowboys coach. All right, so Marcus, Iisha, I didn't get to ask you, Coach. We talked about it last week, but just kind of back to the theme. So the Cowboys need to fix the defense. Priority number one. That's been well established. But between the draft and what's available in free agency, I mean, it's one thing to be optimistic. It's one thing to get better, because as bad as the unit was, there's a lot of room to get growth. But I mean, can they realistically put together a playoff contending type of squad? Do you think?
I mean, I think so, because it's not going to be that hard to improve the defense, right? If they had the 25th ranked defense last season, they probably made the playoffs, right? It's just how much better can you get, and what happens if the offense takes a step back at all? Can the defense bail them out? They're going to have a much harder schedule this year than they had last year. So they're going to have to nail not only their first 2 picks in the draft at 12 and 20, they're also going to have to nail free agency. And this is honestly something that they have not done a very good job of in recent years. And if you include some of like the trades where they're sending off late round picks for like Kyer Elam and Kenneth Murray, they've been really bad at identifying defensive talent and getting them into the scheme. The only time that it's worked is when they've paid big time prices for players like Quinn Williams. So I think it can be done. Will it be done? I don't know. I'll be honest, Jeff. I don't trust the front office and the personnel department to identify talent all that well on that side of the ball.
Mike's off.
Barnacles, your pessimism made me sad.
Well, I mean,
I get what you're saying.
Look at their track record, though. Look at their track record of free agency. I mean, one of the biggest hits they've had in recent years is Jadeveon Clowney, who they signed in season. Like it's been pretty rough on that side of the ball.
Oh, I definitely agree. And I mean, one of the only things that I can say that I am hoping for with that, and I think you make a great point about the offense. If the offense takes a step back, which is something that I think we have not talked about at all, you're hoping that they continue on the track that they have. But there is film, tape, all that stuff. Hopefully they continue to evolve. But defensively, one thing that I did hear Steven and Will McClay talk about was, again, we're going to try to trust them here, is the fact that having all these new coaches come in from different places now with this new staff, you're getting insight that you don't have in your building. You're getting insight, some maybe more in-depth insight on, teams in their divisions and stuff, and they're sprinkling in, hey. And with those new coaches comes, hey, we need some of our guys here. They're going to want to bring maybe some of their gentlemen from wherever they came from here. So I feel like with some of those factors that they need, there should be some urgency, or there might be, just because there's a whole new staff and they have to get some of their, guys to have the echo chamber to the field. Does that make sense? No?
Yeah, I get it.
What you got, Coach?
Coach, I don't think you have a lot of faith in this personnel department.
He ain't got no faith, no feelings. Listen, I'm just
saying. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that these new guys have a sense of what they like, or what their, what their little characteristics are that trigger them. I mean, the problem is that you gotta be able to put everybody on board with where and what you want to do. And I think, it's fair that you say the pro personnel has done a less than job on the defensive side. At the same time, I don't know how much say Matt Eberflus or those guys had in that room. I don't know how much. And so now, let's say they had a lot of say. Let's say that they were given the microphone and they were not afraid to talk. And you see what you ended up with. Now, how much confidence are you going to have in newer, younger guys who don't have a point of reference, who want to come in and get the microphone? How much confidence are you going to have in them? Because I'm asking you. You say in the pro personnel department, I don't know that it was Kubiak's son, or I don't know that it was it's a guy's name in New Orleans.
I'm just saying whoever was making the decisions to go out and sign Jack Sanborn, trade for Kenneth Murray, those are the ones I don't trust. Now, again,
Jack Sanborn came to Chicago,
so that one is probably.
So you think okay? So that's the point I'm making. So do you think that came from pro personnel, or do you think that came from Eberflus walking in there and saying, "Hey, I got a background with this guy"?
My guess is obviously that one probably came from Eberflus, but I don't know
Correct.
about the Kyrie Elam. My guess is Elam was a front office one because they had a high grade on him a couple of years ago, and they felt like, hey, we could buy low on a guy that we liked in the first round. 3 years ago.
Fair point.
Yeah, and that can't happen anymore. I mean, same thing they did with Mingo.
Yep.
We had a second round grade on him. We'll give up a 4th round pick for him. That doesn't mean he's playing to that level right now.
No, and I think that's my concern is that they have not done a good job of identifying talent, and it's not just a 1-year thing. Like we can go back, to the last several years. I mean, honestly, probably their best signing was Malik Hooker, who they got on a big discount from Indianapolis because he couldn't stay healthy. They also don't spend a lot of money on free agents on that side of the ball. I believe Dante Fowler last year, who got $6.5 million, was their biggest free agent spending on defense in the last 10 years of free agency. So they don't put any assets on that side of the ball when it comes to free agent cap dollars. That's going to have to change if you want to be a competent defense this year.
Is that Malik Hooker who Eberflus was the defensive coordinator there, didn't put any value on?
Correct. But to be fair, Malik Hooker missed a lot of time with the Colts, so I don't necessarily blame them for that one.
Strike up the band.
So you don't, please. So, Coach, so you don't think that the coaches should be able to come in here and say that they want to bring?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that they shouldn't. What I'm saying is, how much do you listen to them? How much do you have confidence that if one of those guys comes in and stands on the table? I mean, we can sit here and go. We can sit here and go all the way back to this guy's name that was the head coach of Detroit that was a defensive coordinator here.
Schwartz.
Swinging a miss.
Oh, Rod Marinelli.
Yeah. Rod Marinelli comes in here and he stands on the table for Tristan Hill. Had to have Tristan Hill. And everybody's like, what? Oh, yeah, this guy is a rolling ball of butcher knives, defensive tackle. I mean, and we know how it ended up. My point is, you have a history of guys doing that. So how much are you really going to listen to somebody that's been in your building a month? How much cachet are they going to have to what they say when it comes time to draft? I don't know that.
Right. Ain't pro personnel supposed to say hell no?
In theory, Iisha, it should be that your coaches tell your player personnel, hey, this is what we're looking for. And the player personnel goes out and gets those guys. But again, they have not been working together very long. I mean, I'm hoping
That's fair.
I'm hoping that they've had meetings together. They've identified what they're looking for, thresholds they're looking physically, whether it's like length or speed.
Again, that's the Marcus said. I mean, that's the NFL. I mean, you have so many different opinions from an alpha standpoint. It's not just the Cowboys that are dealing with this issue. Everybody deals with this issue as far as, who you think is better and how they play. And, it's the beauty's in the eyes of the beholder mentality.
Right. Mm-hmm. So to that point, right, I mean, as we get closer to free agency, I mean, the Cowboys will have, I think, a pretty good idea of who they want to go after and how much they'll likely have to spend, right? I mean, that's pretty fair.
Yeah. What I'm more fascinated by, Jeff, is which positions do they target? Do they go heavy after like a corner because cornerbacks take a little bit more time to develop in the draft? Or do they pay up for like a linebacker, like Devin Lloyd, who's a big name guy? Do they go out and pay Devin Lloyd a bunch of money so that they can shore up one spot? I think free agency is going to tell us a lot about how the Cowboys plan on attacking defense in the draft.
I agree. I also, too, like I stated before, I think some of these positions, like you said, Marcus, linebacker, maybe defensive end, depending on like some of these positions, like I want a veteran there to start. You need a veteran there. Like it's not okay that you don't have a steady veteran to like continue on every year.
Well, like Marcus, who are the top? Give me the top two linebackers in the draft?
Well, tease that. Hold that.
Yeah,
till
the
back.
top two linebackers.
No, hell no. I'm not going to a break right now. Who are the top two linebackers in the draft?
They both play for a Big Ten school, and I'll tell you who they are next.
Nice. I love it. All right, I got to tell you though about FanDuel. Although the action is going on right now between Marcus and the coach, but if you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. You use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. Now, if you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock that in. Now, whether you're picking a team to win the championship or grabbing a conference title, it really adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, you could also be sent to the NBA Finals. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Coach is gone, but welcome back. We are back here on the Cowboy Squad Show. Before here he comes. I was going to ask you while we're talking about the defense about Kenny Clark, but go ahead. Give your answer to the top two free agent linebackers.
No. Who are the top two linebackers coming out in college?
Yeah, there you go. I got you.
Okay.
It's Sonny Styles from Ohio State, 6'4", 243, going to run in the 4.4s at the NFL Combine. And then there's Arvell Reese, who is like an old school Patriots linebacker. Think like Dante Hightower, 6'3", 250. He's going to blow up the tight end of the run game. He's going to come downhill as a pass rusher. Both those guys would not be surprised if they're top 6 picks in the draft.
Okay. Here's where I'm going with this. Did both of them play at the same school all 4 years?
All 3 years, correct. Yes.
Okay. So now go to the next. Here's where I'm going with this. The reason that they're probably going to be that is because of where they've been for the time frame they've been there. And I'm saying that because I think those guys are more developed and more polished and more ready to play now than, let's say, a guy that's been to 2 or 3 places. And I'm saying that because I don't think when you're surfing school to school to school, to me, at some point you've never really been happy where you're at. I don't like that process. And so I'm going to the point that you're making is, who is the most NFL ready guy? Is it going to be, so-and-so who's a free agent, or either one of those linebackers who you're talking about who have been coached and are ready to step in right now? Am I making sense of what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
I don't want a guy that's been at 3 or 4 different schools, not that early in the draft.
And honestly, I'm in agreement with you. Like, I think you can get
Well, didn't mean to bother you.
No, you're good. I think you can get some free agent linebackers that can come right in, pay a little bit more than what you're used to paying, but pay free agent linebackers to solidify the position, because the last thing they need are linebackers that are really green coming in here and losing them games early on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, if you go after a Devin Lloyd or a Devin Bush or a Nakobe Dean from Philadelphia,
Demario Davis too, right?
Demario Davis, right? You can get quality linebacker play without the learning curve.
I agree. I mean, and then also too, the next guy that I would have on my list is CJ Allen out of Georgia. And he is one of those guys. He's 6'1", 235, spent a lot of time in his career at Georgia. And he also too, it kind of fits that bill of what you're talking about, Coach. He's more of a Sam, but incredible, gap integrity and things like that. Like, he could come in. I think he would be okay as well. Right after those guys that you named, Marcus. So I agree. I'm long over Dallas not having a steady Mike linebacker for this team. It has killed your second level for years.
Yeah.
And the turnover there is just not healthy for the position. The position is too intricate to not be being taught, like coach is saying. And so when these guys are getting all these different philosophies, different coaches, all this stuff, I'm hoping that there's some stability at this position moving forward. And whoever that free agent is, if they do bring in a free agent, that they have them for at least a couple years. Jesus, so these young guys can develop and they don't look like chickens when their head cut off all the time. Sorry, it's ticked me off how neglected the linebacker position has been, and teams have taken advantage of you in these big games every single time. There, Green Bay killed your second level in that playoff game. I mean, what more do you need to see? Sorry, gone, y'all. I'm about to
I love it. I love it. I love the passion. So Marcus, back to one of your previous episodes. So are we pretty confident that the Cowboys will be able to make some space so they can do some spending in a few weeks?
Yeah. The cap space isn't going to be an issue. So they can easily free up about $100 million of space compared to where they're at now. They're about $30 million over. You need about $10 million for your draft class. So that's $40 million over. They could easily get to $60 million of cap space. They're going to restructure the contracts of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, probably Tyler Smith as well. I think the only big questions we have, Jeff, are what do they do with Kenny Clark? Because he's on a deal that's going to pay him $21 million this year. Right. Do they feel like he's still a $21 million player, or do they try to rework that deal? Terrence Steele, what do they do with that contract? And then how do they address George Pickens? If they sign Pickens, do they give him a long-term deal with a really low base salary? If he's on the franchise tag, you're going to need to clear up even more space. So they'll have the space. It's not going to be an issue getting there, but I'm interested to see how they get there.
Do any of you gentlemen think that Kenny Clark has some of that value we were talking about with TJ Bass?
No, because I think the contract's too high.
It's too high to be able to, navigate it, even in a trade situation.
Yes, actually, we saw an article today from Bill Barnwell of ESPN. Yeah,
tell us about it.
He had Kenny Clark going to the Cincinnati Bengals, I believe, for a 5th-round pick. The Cowboys got for a 5th-round pick, and the Cowboys give up Kenny Clark in a 6th-round pick. So that kind of tells you where maybe the rest of the league thinks Clark's value is at right now.
Interesting. Thanks, guys.
I think if you're truly gonna look at, and I do think they're gonna look at a bunch of this 3-down scheme. I mean, he fits as a guy right now. So I don't see giving him up.
I don't get it either. I don't think they should.
Here's what they could do, Coach. Very realistically, he's got no guaranteed money left on his deal. Maybe what you do is you offer him some more money, a signing bonus up front. You lower the cap hit, because you're right. Like, if they're going to be running more odd man fronts, you're going to need guys like this that can play all over. Maybe it's not 21 million, maybe it's 13, 14 million, and it sets them up to make some more money on this deal.
Yeah. I just don't think it makes sense to, again, go backwards as you're trying to build this defensive line, this front seven in general. And I just feel like most of the good defensive teams, I mean, we saw Seattle literally just show you that, hey, having a good rotation of guys, keeping guys fresh, what that can do for you. They were very healthy as well going into this Super Bowl game.
Yeah, and I would take that one step further, Iisha. I mean, look at Seattle. I mean, they weren't really known as an offensive juggernaut, but they found a way to get to the Super Bowl with their defense, obviously. And then look at the Patriots with all the great quarterbacks in the AFC. Who was there? Drake May and the Patriots defense. So that's why I keep asking about the Cowboys defense, about realistically. It's one thing to talk and to be positive, but realistically, can they get it done? And that's what I think we're all hoping for. Right.
I think you'll know pretty quickly, honestly. Like, I think within the first week of free agency, because after probably by Friday, you're going to be already onto the 3rd and 4th wave of free agency. If the Cowboys sit out those first couple waves and they miss out on the Devin Lloyds and the Devin Bushes and those type of names, it's going to be really hard to improve this defense with veteran minimum signing. So look for the Cowboys to be aggressive in the first couple of days of free agency.
Yeah.
And then when is that first couple? Is that tomorrow?
A free agency?
Yeah.
No, we got about a month until free agency.
Oh, a month. I'm sorry. So tomorrow you can franchise tag guys?
Yes, tomorrow you can start franchising players. Yes.
Okay. And then also too, Marcus and you guys, that means, the combine's coming too. And that's when these talks start happening. You know what I'm saying? That's when people start really sitting around and having a drink and having conversations. So we might be hearing some reports out of the combine as well, starting to get a beat on what teams are talking about with the free agency.
And the good thing is, Iisha, when people go to Indianapolis, all they do is work. They do not party. And
what are you talking about?
All they do is work in Indianapolis. So just
St. Elmo's.
No big dinners or anything like that, right, Coach?
Yep.
That calamari was fire at Elmo's. Some of the best calamari I've ever had in my life.
Yes, you're right.
I cannot wait to go back.
That sauce. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's the legendary.
Coach looks like he's missing it right now. Look at that face.
Coach, no, you don't miss it. Okay. No.
You just like the cold weather. I don't know if I told you guys this. But
he don't care. We joking. He like, nah.
That's right. I get an update every day about the weather in Texas. It's
Why
fantastic.
do y'all do this to each other?
He does it to me. It's not my fault.
Are y'all best friends, low key?
Nah.
Y'all best friends.
Best friends.
Y'all are. I can tell. You asking him about the weather. You care about his safety.
I laugh about his little squatter son who's driving him nuts because he's been penned up inside all day long.
Yeah, that's true.
Squatter is insane.
He likes to tell him good night every night. It's great.
Oh yeah,
I knew y'all see.
He is a Liam is a rolling ball of butcher knives.
Yeah, he's a
when
future
Marcus
Dallas Cowboy linebacker.
When Marcus don't let him have his way, he can get him a good case of the red ass.
Marcus, it sounds like you got you an extra godfather.
Yeah, that's something.
I love it. That's outstanding. All right, let's take our final time out. You mentioned tag day tomorrow. I want to see if what we expect with the Cowboys and Pickens. Also, some more comments from Jerry Jones and a whole lot more coming up. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. And tax season does not mean that it has to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Now, instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can actually meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms, and they work to get you every deduction. You can also upload your documents to go about your day and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and really gives peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. So for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert did not file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate. Get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. All right, great to be with you here on the Cowboys Squad Show. Final segment. Marcus, before we get to George, what is coming up on the daily Cowboys Locked On Cowboys podcast with you and Landon?
Yeah, a couple different things. Number one, we're going to talk about some of the top edge rushers available on the free agent market. We're going to look at all the different price points, some guys the Cowboys could be interested in at the top end of the market, at the middle part of the market, and then obviously some rentals. And then we're going to look at some trade candidates, some guys outside of just Max Crosby that could be available this offseason. And then for our bonus show that's coming out on Tuesday, we're going to talk about all the different options the Cowboys have with George Pickens. And some of them we're going to get into right now.
Bonus. I like the bonus. I like these bonus shows you've been throwing out there. That's awesome.
We have them 5 days a week now, 10-minute shows. Make sure you guys check them out.
All right. So you guys have and I'm fair game. You guys have made fun of me for bringing up Pickens and talking about trade. So I was thinking about it, and I was trying to be accountable and own up to it and look at it from all the different angles. And here's what I came up with. Here is the most efficient, succinct explanation of where I stand with George Pickens and the Cowboys. You know what it is? I don't have faith that Jerry Jones and David Mulligeta, is that how?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have faith that they can agree to a deal. There it is. I said it. That's it.
I'm with you, Jeff. Can I give you an alternative that may help speed up a deal?
Please.
So the Cowboys could franchise tag George Pickens starting on Tuesday. Then that would lock him in at 1 year, $28 million if he played in the tag. Now, they would put the exclusive tag on him, which means that he cannot negotiate with other teams. But there's also a transition tag, which would pay him 1 year, $25 million. And what that would allow him to do is actually hit free agency, and David Mulligeta and George Pickens could go talk to other teams, and they could try to get an offer. And let's say the Raiders offer him 4 years at $33 million a year. The Cowboys would have the opportunity to match that deal. And they might end up paying a little bit more than what you would want to by doing that. And it's never a great thing to let your player hit the open market. But if there's no faith that Jerry Jones and David Mulligeta are going to be able to negotiate together, maybe the best strategy is just let another team do it for you and then just match whatever deal is out there. And if he gets an absurd amount of money that you just know that you would never be able to match, maybe you just let him go and you move on. And I know that's not an ideal scenario, but it's better than what we dealt with last year with Micah, where that's just a dark cloud hanging over your team all offseason.
Are you sure that's still part of the CBA, Marcus?
Yes,
So
the transition tag.
I haven't seen anybody use that.
No, it's very, very seldom used because, again, most teams don't want a top-end player hitting the market. But, yes, you can still use the transition tag.
And also grow up.
You're telling me or David and Jerry?
No, I'm just saying, grow up. Like, I mean, what do you mean you can't? And even I'm just like, I get your stress, Jeff. Bless you, kid. I get your stress and everything, but I'm also like, I just don't think it's not stressing me is bad. I just feel like they should be able to get a deal done, and it shouldn't be this. I don't think it should. He's not Micah. He's not Micah. He's not. He wasn't an all-pro every year that he was in league. He's not Micah. He had one good year. He is a phenomenal player and everything. He doesn't have the same leverage in negotiation. I mean, yes, this is a great player. I think that Pickens has made your team better. He has all the value. We know the numbers, all that. But I'm just saying, like, he's not in the same position as Micah. So if David Mulligeta is handling this, if people are assuming he's going to be handling like this like a Micah trade, there's no way. Like, a lot of teams are going to look at him crazy. Does it make sense? Like, I don't.
No, you're right. This is why I think the exclusive franchise tag or the non-exclusive franchise tag, which a team would have to pay 2 first-round picks, that's obviously not realistic. But it's not even realistic to assume that a team would be willing to give up a first-round pick and pay George Pickens, because Pickens was available to anybody last year for a day 2 pick. All Pittsburgh wanted was a top 100 pick before the draft. They were shopping him to everybody, and nobody was interested. The Cowboys, after the draft, because they didn't get Tedero McMillan, were the only team that came up with a decent offer. I just don't think teams that removed him from their draft boards in 2022, that turned down trading for him last year when he was on a rookie deal, are suddenly going to be willing to give him $35 million a year, fully guaranteed over 4 years, or 80% guaranteed. You're right, Iisha. This is not the same as the Micah Parsons situation.
So you think that's part of the PR team that's putting out there that he was late, missed the bus a few times, late for a few meetings?
According to Todd Archer, I want to make sure I get this right because I think this has been spun on X a little wrong. He said he'd been fined, but it wasn't like a number of times, and it didn't seem like it was egregious or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I think reading between the lines, he probably did miss a couple buses or did miss a couple of meetings, but I don't think this is the Cowboys trying to slam their player to bring his price tag down.
It would be difficult to do so as well. Like if I if I have a good understanding of the locker room, is that the locker room, like these guys really like this guy. So there's just no issues there as far as
Well,
that. I
you
mean,
can
yeah,
like a guy and put up with this character. I mean, we do
no,
it
no,
with
no, no.
scratch
What
every
I'm saying
week, right?
it's not like it doesn't seem like it's been an issue
Nothing.
that many times and all of that stuff to where you're like, oh, that's freaking clown. Like, no, it's still respect around the locker room with him.
So let me play advocate for a second. Okay. We mentioned this, that if you go right now and you look at the pre-tag free agent boards, the number one free agent on all these sites is Pickens. I mean, number one. And so, and you look at some of the teams that need help, like the Chiefs, the Bills, that have really strong cores, strong quarterbacks, strong locker rooms, that they saw what Dallas was able to do to get Pickens on the right track. So they're probably thinking, okay, he'll fit in with us. He'll play for us. I'm just saying, you're opening the door, and it just takes one to make, kind of a crazy offer and kind of blow everything up. But I agree with your thought process, though, Marcus. I think it's a good idea. Because that's what it's going to come down to. It doesn't matter what we think. It's Mulugeta and Pickens. They think, hey, he's the number one free agent, so he deserves to be paid. That's what he's going to try to get.
My guess is that David Mulugeta knows there's probably 2 or 3 teams out there that would offer him a multi-year deal around market range, right? I don't think it's going to be a team like the Chiefs or Bills that are so limited cap wise that had no interest in trading for him last year when he was far cheaper. But if you're George Pickens, do you go to Cleveland on a 4-year deal with no quarterback? Do you go to pick a team? Do you go to the Titans, who have a lot of cap space, or do you really plead to your agent, hey, I'm willing to take $2 million a year less to stay in a good situation with a good quarterback? And hey, if it's a 2-year deal and I get to hit free agency again when I'm 26, that's not the worst case scenario. But unfortunately, Jeff, a lot of times the agents don't have the best intentions in mind for the player. They're just trying to get him the most money possible because that's how they get paid.
I was trying to think of a scenario where that happened, where somebody took less, and I can't think of one.
The best example, honestly, was Tyron Smith, probably in Dallas, where he took a 10-year deal that he should have never ever taken. But Tyron wanted to be here. He liked being in Dallas. He liked the facility. He liked living here. He took a deal that was way under market and worked out okay for him.
I do think that once free agency is done and set and everything, that we'll see that some teams were in play or were interested or whatever the case may be. If he does sign with Dallas, I think there is going to be a little, like you guys said, there's teams we didn't know that Dallas was like, I kind of heard some rumblings, but nobody knew for sure. Like when the Pickens trade came across, I remember the doubt. I remember the people being shocked by it. We did not know that was happening. So there might be things that might come out and surprise us during free agency, and this Pickens things might be one of it. And also too, come on, Marcus, they have a quarterback in Cleveland. Stop.
Who?
Shedeur.
Oh,
yeah, they have a quarterback in Cleveland. True. I mean, he's a baby, but yeah.
I think Cleveland will be in the market for a quarterback very soon, as soon as this year.
I'm sure you feel like that, Marcus.
They do not have a starter there for sure.
I like Shedeur. I'm rooting for him, but I don't.
There's not anything against Shedeur.
He's not a Dak Prescott. They
don't have starting NFL quarterback there.
They do have a Pro Bowler, though. That's the difference.
Okay.
All right. So do we think that the Cowboys?
You're so petty. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Will the Cowboys make that tag decision tomorrow, you think?
When
do they have to do it by?
Yeah, I mean, they have to do it before free agency starts, so they've got a while. But my guess is they'll hold off, because you might want to hold on to that tag for someone like Brandon Aubrey, who needs a new deal as well. I do think Pickens will ultimately get the tag because it ends up being like a placeholder. But I don't know if we should expect it to happen as soon as Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, Jerry Jones said he's part of our future. So, I mean, That's good. So, I mean, they want him here. So
to be fair, Stephen Jones said you also don't build championship teams by trading away players like Micah Parsons. So I don't know if the Joneses' mouth are moving. I don't really trust them here.
Oh God, the anxiety, the PTSD, the gaslighting.
I ultimately, before we go, Jeff, I do think this is going to work out. I think Pickens will be back. I think he'll be. My prediction is that he's on a 3-year deal. It's probably worth about $32 million a year. I just would not stress over this the way that you stressed over Micah Parsons. It just seems like this is way more likely to get done because I don't think there's going to be the same type of market for Pickens as there was for Micah Parsons.
Okay, fair enough. We will find out. And in the meantime, though, we get to tune in tomorrow to Marcus and Landon on the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast. Iisha, what is your week looking like?
I will be on the stack with Crown Global Media with Zach Wolchuk from 105.3 The Fan and Brian Broaddus tomorrow. That will be airing at 3 p.m. on tomorrow and Thursday. And then Thursday, I will be back on Girls Talk Boys Talk at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Central Time with DallasCowboys.com.
Nice. All right. We look forward to that. Look forward to having you back on Thursday. Coach, as always, sorry to bother you, but glad to have you on. And we'll do it again.
Don't bother me anymore then. Stop bothering me.
Oh, my God.
Marcus, all the best, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. And again, tune in to Marcus and Landon on the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast. Thank you for everybody tuning in live tonight and also listening later on. We appreciate you very much. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.